Alright guys, so I think that last video was first part of July that I made, and I was standing right here when I made that video, and it was about this time of day. It was getting a little dark in the woods. That's what it used to look like. That's what it looks like now. So today is July 30th. I've been done over here for about 2 weeks. So you know, after I made that first video, I got my well, I don't remember if I have a machine over here yet or not, but I got on it pretty hot and heavy for about a week or so. It's done. This is as done as it's going to get. I used my my 175C crawler loader. It worked out real well to push the trees over. Some of them I picked up and carried off. Other ones I just kind of pushed over and shoved them then into a pile. And I made a big pile over here, and there's a couple of piles over there. So I wasn't real concerned with, I saved just a little bit of wood for firewood, but most of it, if I want to pick through it later, I got big piles of, you know, firewood I can pick through over there. But again, this was mostly just to clear the land, so I wasn't super concerned about making a bunch of maple firewood, because this was, of all the trees I pushed down to make this, I pushed over, I think, 2 hickory, 1 poplar, and the rest of these were maple. So there might have been a sassafras in there. I don't know. I'm not real good with my trees and stuff, but I do kind of vaguely remember smelling root beer there for a while. So anyhow, I got it done. It took me about 22 hours on the machine to do this, and this was the first time I've ever really run that machine. So it may take, you know, a more experienced operator might be done with this in a whole lot less time. But you know, I don't know if that'd give you an idea. If a guy had to pay for something like this, 22 hours is what it took me. And most guys in our area, I think, are charging about $100 an hour. So if a regular, you know, a good operator could have had this done in half the time, you know, you'd be looking at 11 hours times $100. So you'd be looking at $1,100 to get this done. If I was charging, you know, if I was billing myself, I would have $2,200 in this. And I just measured it. You can see my measuring wheel over there. You may or may not see it. That orange thing, that's my little measuring wheel. To give me an idea of the amount of fertilizer in clover, I need to know how big this area is. So it's roughly 200 feet that way, and it's roughly 185 feet this way. I'll have to figure that up. I haven't figured it up yet, but it's probably pushing 3/4 of an acre. It's got to be over 1/2 an acre. So anyhow, I left the oak trees. I don't think I pushed down a single oak tree. I had them all marked. There's that one kind of sticks out there by itself. There's a couple of them that kind of stick out there by themselves. And that oak tree already had a deer stand in it. So that stands there, but I want to put a shooting house out here, something up elevated deal. So that might be my next little project. I'd like to get that done before season starts. But again, this is July 30th. I'm going to put, my plan is to put, I took the soil sample tonight. That's the main reason I'm over here right now. I got my dirt in a bucket, a little shovel and a big shovel. So I'm going to take that home. I'll let it dry out for a couple days, and I'm going to take about a Ziploc baggie, a sandwich baggie of that to my soil and water conservation office. They'll send it off for a test. It takes about 3 days, and they'll email me the results, and I'll tell them that I'm going to plant clover and wheat in here, and they'll give me a recommendation on the fertilizer requirements based on what I'm planting. So that'll be real useful knowledge, and I'll need to know the size. That's why I brought my wheel over. I'll need to know how big an area, because the recommendation they give me will be based on acreage. So, you know, if this is a 1/2 acre, then I'll have to, you just got to know how big an area you're doing to know how much fertilizer and lime you might need. Then I think I'm going to do, I talked to the wildlife biologist again for our district, and he's really big on this white Dutch clover. But everything I'm looking up online is not looking like white Dutch is going to be super great. So I think I'm going to do a mix, because I mean, the guy knows what he's talking about. He's a biologist, and he's a hunter too, and he's got his own food plots. So I mean, I'm you know, putting a lot of stock into what he says. but I kind of want to hedge my bets too. So I think I'm going to plant some Ladino, which should do okay out in the middle, and then White Dutch should do okay out over here in these shady areas along the edges and stuff. So the Ladino does not, in my kind of research I'm doing, the Ladino doesn't like shade as much as the White Dutch can handle. And then I've kind of been talking to some people, and they really like the medium red clover. They say it does well for shade tolerant and drought tolerant too. So I don't know. Right now I'm thinking White Dutch, Ladino, and some winter wheat, and I'm planning on planting that. I'm in southeastern Indiana, so I'm planning on planting that in mid-August. So I got a couple more weeks yet to get my ducks in a row, figure out exactly what I'm gonna do, and get over here and do it. So in 2 weeks, hopefully I'll be planting this, and then hopefully we'll be starting to get in some decent rain. It'll sprout, and we've got a youth season at the end of September. So the last, I think it's the last weekend of September is the youth season. So I'd like to bring my nephews over here for that. So I've got, let's see, if I plant in mid-August, that'll be 2 weeks of August. That'll be all of September. So I'll have 6 weeks of grow time before I'd want to hunt it. And that should be plenty. Clover, I think what I was looking into, the clover should sprout in like a week. So if it had, you know, another 5 weeks of grow time on it, I'm seeing deer tracks in this mud, you know, so the deer are here. If I give them a reason to kind of hang out and come out, then I don't think there'll be any problem getting them out into this, because it's, I mean, you can see how thick the woods is around here. You know, that's way open, but that ain't. So hopefully they'll feel secure out here. It's not so big an area that they'll be afraid to come out before dark, and hopefully it's just the right size to get the stuff to grow good and still be kind of confined enough for the deer to feel comfortable out here. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be planting this. I'll show you the planting. I'll show you the fertilizer I'm going to use. If I need some lime, I'll give you ideas on where I'm buying all this stuff. So click that thumbs up button if this is helping you, because hopefully you're doing something like this, and maybe this will give you some ideas. And if you want to see what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, you know, like I said, lime, fertilizer, seed, give you ideas where I'm ordering all that stuff, click that subscribe button, and you can follow along with this whole project here. So until the next video, guys, I'll catch you then.